Welcome back to another episode of Strife's Talking Points, and in this one I'm going to cover a report which I think is going to blow up in the next couple days. I can't believe it's not already everywhere. This is from CBS. The headline here is Report White Supremacists Responsible for Dozens of 2018 Domestic Terror Incidents. Now, in their story they link to this thing here, which comes out of the state of New Jersey. It's a report of domestic terrorism in 2018. And they link race-based extremists, which would basically always fall into a identity group. And they go through all these various cases of extremism as hate groups or domestic terrorism as labeled by the FBI. Now, in here they have everything from murderers to people who punched people, to all kinds of various crimes, anti-government extremism, single issue things. And what they do, and here we're going to go, just listen for a moment.
New Jersey government agency found alleged white supremacists were responsible for all of the race-based domestic terrorism.
Now, you hear the word alleged. They say alleged because some of the people, they found almost no ties to it. They found basically nothing. Maybe they reached out to a racist group in order to do something and try and use that racial hatred as a way to get something done. But some of the people have little to no ties in that group. It's just a very convenient thing. We're going to move forward to their little thing here. 46 people allegedly involved in 32 incidents, 25 people classified as race-based extremists. All race-based extremists were alleged white supremacists. Here is one of the first ones they have on the list. This is actually the very first gentleman here. He is linked to it because he had anti-Semitic, racist. They found memes and stuff on his social media accounts, which anytime you've ever seen a meme or anything like that, was the initial part. After I read through a little bit, they said he had some alleged ties to this group. Where is it? And this is a racial group here. It's atomic bomb in German. Atomwaffen or something like that was an actual group. There it is, Atomwaffen Division, reportedly. Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of stuff on this. That group, though, the Atomwaffen, they've had a handful of killings, and actually in this group, one of its members converted to Islam and then murdered two of the actual members within the group. So it's a small group. Apparently some of the members are extremely violent, and when one of them converted to Islam, that person then killed two of the existing members. However, that person and that killing, even though it would be identity based, does not make this group. And if it did, they would flip it because the Islam was a white supremacist and killed white supremacist wouldn't fit the narrative. It's a very odd thing here.
Walker is the White House correspondent for Yahoo News.
Now, this is the Yahoo newsman who actually put together the article. I've been going through his article, picking out very interesting things. Did you know that in order to be a domestic race-based extremist, this guy here, Kevin Duncan, where's he at? This guy here, he is allegedly the unit leader of National Socialist Movement in Oregon. This self-proclaimed unit leader, which means he probably only has one member, maybe two. You can actually see part of a swastika tattoo on his neck there. What was his extremist action? He punched a person at a pride parade. That is his. He had words with somebody, then got in a punch someone, ran down the hill to punch someone. That's his terrorist extreme measure. Some of these people, this man here, is a gang member. Just so happens the gang is a white supremacy gang. He shot a policeman in the face with shot a policeman with a shotgun. That should be considered gang violence, but since the gang is considered white supremacist, they don't put it there. They move it over into racial extremes. The policeman he shot was, of course, black. No, he was not. It was just a white guy. So this is a gang member who shot a policeman. He's rolled in here. I wonder if you put every gang member who shot a policeman, who was a member of a gang that was mostly black, in here, how this number would change. Very much playing up the idea that this has got to be a problem when, as they give you in this report, 32 incidents, 25 people classified as race-based extremist. 25. There were 21 classified as non-race-based extremist. And here's what I want to show you as a reference. This guy. This is a man who set another man on fire while in a facility in Tennessee. Believe it was in Nashville, possibly Murfreesboro. But in here, here's this man's rap sheet before this incident happened. This is last year. Carruthers, who is from Adamsville, was convicted of violent charges before moving into the home on North Maple Street. He spent time in prison for attempted first-degree murder in 1999, attempted second-degree murder in 2002, aggravated assault in 2009, and attempted second-degree murder in 2012. This man was trying to kill someone. This is what he was moving. Lawsuit says blatant history of aggression and violence. That is this man's entire life. He has been trying to kill someone for 20 years. It just so happens that the man he finally killed was a black man. Poured igniter on him and set the man on fire and killed him. They are trying to tie this into a racial identity killing, when this man was trying to kill someone for 20 plus years. But because white man killed a black man, he is now listed in here as a white supremacist person. This is a farce of a report. Within digging into a few of these, you can right off the bat notice that the first man here, they tried to tie him to that. Basically, a gay man jumped in his lap and tried to make an advance on him. Made him mad. Made him overly angry. I'll admit that a lot of people get way too worked up over something, and he ended up killing this person. And that became a hate crime. Probably should be a hate crime. Probably shouldn't be considered a white supremacist hate crime, but there it is. This man here, member of a gang, shot a policeman. Didn't shoot a black policeman, didn't use any kind of, wasn't racially targeting people, shot a white policeman. Again, becomes a white supremacist attack. This third guy here, they're not 100% sure. They found something they believe to be white supremacist literature in his house. This is a guy who was trying to build bombs and blew himself up. Now, honestly, if all people trying to build bombs, this happened to them, I wouldn't be that upset, because he killed only himself, killed no one else. To my knowledge, there was no injuries of anyone else. It's just this guy was making bombs, blew himself up. No one else was injured. Investigators found a single piece of white supremacist literature in his apartment. What piece that is? Was it a magazine teaching him how to make bombs? Was this just a guy who was unhinged wanting to kill people? No one knows. However, immediately throw him into the list. There. Make him a white supremacist. The people who, the Tennessee man I spoke about a minute ago who burned the other person to death, he has, the victim's family are actually suing the facility for allowing him in because of such a violent criminal past. This man here falls on the list. He wanted to kill his neighbor to take his land. The way he wanted to kill his neighbor is he wanted it to basically be tied to a hate group, a white supremacist group. So he reached out to them to try to get them to kill his neighbor. He was going to pay apparently $500. However, the person that he reached out to or got a hold of was a FBI agent who, after meeting with him, collecting the $100 down payment, subsequently had him arrested. They're not saying that he was a member of any of those groups. He just reached out to those groups in order to kill his neighbor, who was black, which just takes the cake there. And here's a little statistic for you. This is the actual thing here. It's hard to see a little bit. I've tried zooming in a couple times. Interracial killings. Everybody hears about interracial killings, and they know that this happens. Whites killed by blacks. You see this right here, where white people are more often to be killed by blacks, and then you see down here blacks killed by whites, much less of a rate. Now, this is a course of 15 years, from 01 to 2015. 150, peaks around 200. This one is 450. So it's actually all but like 1 year, more than double the rate of whites being killed by blacks and blacks being killed by whites. However, you've never heard the push to say that of any of this time about, these horrible black supremacy groups. Even though, even looking at this number here, the number of kills would be way down here at the bottom. Not saying white supremacy is not a problem. Of course it is. Everybody thinks these people are crazy. No one supports them. They break off into these little fringe groups where it's one guy in a state all by himself, says he's the leader, even though maybe he has two people he talks to on a regular basis, and they're both online FBI agents. And here's a couple other things. This is in their list as well. This man, Darrell Franklin, was threatening Congressman Chris Smith with death threats. Now, they're not saying why he was giving them death threats, just saying he was going to kill him. Now, if he has any ties to any black identity group, Black Lives Matter, Black Panther Association, anything like that, would this be considered a black extremist hate crime? No, because we, as of yet, as a nation, can't wrap our heads around that. By the news, the government, the laws, that way everything's set up is that you can't do that. The rep, of course, was white, and yet him being threatened doesn't matter. Yeah, I looked up this man. This is one of the extremists. Now, the single issue extremists are, if you read about any of those, they are a whole world unto themselves. This is a Haitian man who drove a truck through a Planned Parenthood, injuring several people. Yeah, and he's a Haitian national, came to the country. They believe he's a legal visa, came to the country, drove a truck through a Planned Parenthood. Now, what I want to make a note of here before I end is this. You see the race-based extremists. They tag everyone in here as a white identitarian, even though they can find limited or no connection. As they said early here,
white supremacists were responsible. The government agency found alleged white supremacists.
Alleged. All they have to do to roll everything into white supremacy is allege there's a connection. They don't have to show a connection, prove a connection, have a connection. They just say allegedly. And that's kind of the only reason I wanted this CBS report there, as for that. Now I want to show you something that also happened in 2018. Remember, this extremist here punched a guy, and several of these are just shouting matches or fighting. That's it. So if there's a fight breakout, of course they would arrest the characters, charge the white person, the white supremacist, allegedly with the crime. And then here you go. This is from Vox. This is from 2018. The exact same period this report covers. Antifa clashes with police and journalists in Charlottesville and DC. Antifa says it fights fascist neo-Nazis, but this weekend members attack cops and journalists. So this is a political ideology, a movement. This is the same as the white supremacy movement, where these people have a very heavy, aggressive stance on race, identity, gender, all that. Exactly the same as what you see in race-based extremists. They're there to attack people. How many of them were in this group? Well, the answer is none. Here is the protest where they are throwing water bottles, firecrackers, eggs, attacking police, cutting drones, cords, punching them, shoving them around.
Secret Service is trying to clear the way.
Antifa. A lot of pushing. Eggs just thrown.
So what you have is a violent group of people going through the streets being violent, and they are not being considered anything. So if you have white supremacists, these would be the anti-white supremacy group, or the pro-minority group. But although they're not, as you can clearly tell from almost any Antifa picture, they're mostly white liberals, very aggressive, out there attacking people in the street. This liberal carried an American flag to protest fascism in Portland and have cracked his head open with a bat. Violent extremists being put out there and not being brought down. Look, they're just like, give me your flag, you liberal. Look at him spanking him. It's just, they crack his head open. This is Antifa, which they don't get on the list, even though they are violent in the streets very often. Oh, the real clear politics one went away. Video, Antifa violence at Portland Patriot Prayer Rally. A lot of these groups that they call white supremacists are just people who are saying being white isn't terrible. It's not a bad thing. Your race has nothing to do with who you are. And yet, that's the Patriot Prayer Rally here that we're looking at there. Real clear politics. I don't know why that opened in two windows. But yeah, this is the state of the world we live in, where they produce a report, skew it completely to say that everyone on the list is white supremacist, removing any Antifa violence, any violence from the left, saying that no, this isn't real violence. They're only defending themselves against people they're attacking. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I do think this should be a pretty big story right now, as different people go through and pick out who these people are and look into what actually makes them a white supremacist, or what their crime was. You know, this man, sorry, gotta find him. This man's clearly a gang member, shot someone, shot a policeman, shot a white policeman. This man here, it's probably a hate crime. I mean, he did straight up murder a gay person who apparently jumped up in his lap at an event or a party or something like that. This kid here blew himself up, possible terrorist in the making, a bomb maker. This man here was a 4-time attempted murderer who finally succeeded while being housed in a hospital. And this man here tried to hire a white supremacist group to kill his neighbor, possibly to deflect because he had no other ties to white supremacy. He just wanted it done to look like that. And this man punched another person in the face and is considered a white supremacist extremist, versus beating people with bats, attacking police, attacking everyone else. That's not extremism to the left, because these are the people they're trying to appease, are these extremists. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and have a great day.